are not her father.
Oh! Yeah, you're crazy. You need to go to a mental hospital.
Ms. Webb.
There, get her there.
It just doesn't make any sense that you had absolutely no thought that this child could be yours, and then you walk in and you just say, well, I might as well just sign the birth certificate like you supersizing your fries or something.
Either a man you shared a sexual relationship with who wants nothing to do with your child, or the defendant who happens to be your mother's boyfriend.
A disheartened woman brought the confused case of her paternity and hoped to get closure once and for all. The plaintiff believed that Mr. Hawkins was his biological father. The guy was even on the birth certificate. But after 25 years, Mr. Edwards showed up and said that he was the real father of Ms. Casey.
Miss Casey, you say that for more than 25 years, your mother has told you that a deceased man who is listed on your birth certificate is your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now another man, Mr. Edwards, is claiming he is your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
The poor girl shared her feelings and experiences of spending all her life without the shadow of a father's love. Ms. Casey also told how bad parenting she got made her a better mother.
Actually, it been hell. Not knowing where I came from, I built a bond with Otis Hawkins, who's on my birth certificate, even though he's not ever been in my life. I do not know what the man looks like. I don't have a picture of him. I don't have anything about him, but he is on my birth certificate.
While her mother added to the daughter's testimony that she would do anything to set things right for her daughter, but the plaintiff was not ready to accept that excuse, because her other siblings didn't go through the same.
To me, to find out that's how she feels. If I would have knew that that's what she needed, I would have did my best to help her, but I did not know.
Miss Casey, you seem to kind of roll your eyes like you don't believe your mother.
It's not that I don't believe her. She has 9 children. My other siblings had their father in their life. Me, it was like a dark hole. I was walking down a dark hallway that it was never gonna have no bright light through it, and it was kind of rough.
The judge asked her mother about what she had told Miss Casey about her father, and she revealed Mr. Edwards reached out to her and claimed his paternity, and surprisingly, he was also her older daughter's father. The claiming father, after her response, said this about his kids. Do you think he could be the real father of Mims?
We had spoke. I had spoke with his youngest child, and he was like, you sound like me. I seen a picture of you and my dad in St. Louis with my sister, which is his daughter. She was like, you kind of look like me. Our face was just similar to each other. Like, she's certain that I was her sister.
So to be clear, Mr. Edwards is your older sister's father.
Yes, ma'am.
Then Mr. Edwards added his reason why he believed the plaintiff was his daughter. On this, Ms. Casey coldly said she had a blank feeling towards him. Of course, you can't bond with someone who hasn't been present in your life.
I don't even understand how I can tell. It's like the hair stands up on my back. She looks so much like my family. She's got everything that my mom had, you know, what my mom looked like. I got 6 other daughters, and my youngest daughter, I mean, if you look at her and look at her, you would
They look very similar, you say?
Yes, ma'am, they look.
And so at some point, you hear from Mr. Edwards.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge asked the plaintiff about her quest to find her real father, Mr. Hawkins. She told them how her efforts were in vain. Poor luck.
Eventually, when I got over the age of 18, me and my husband sat down and we did a research. I got on a social network and I found Otis Hawkins, and he was in Natchez, Mississippi. They did not disclose if he was alive or deceased, but they have gave me 2 addresses and 3 phone numbers. At that present time, I contacted the 3 numbers that I had for him. They was all disconnected.
Ms. Casey then shared it would be a miracle if she ever got to meet Mr. Hawkins, and her mother consoled her for the words she spoke. She has been so lonely and torn all her life.
It would be like a dream come true, like what anybody would love to meet Jesus. I would love to meet him. It will be amazing. I would just ask him a lot of questions like, what happened? Why did you leave? Is it something that she said to you or did to you to make you leave me and not want to be in my life?
He didn't leave because of you, LaConda. He left because of me, not you.
Judge then surprised Ms. Case with the missing piece to the puzzle for this case. The whole court was shocked and overjoyed at that moment. We didn't see this coming.
Oh my God, that is me.
Let me see.
Oh, I got
That's
this picture.
you.
My sister lost it. I have this picture.
Look at you, baby.
This is the picture I had. My teddy bear, my best. I love that bunny. Mr. Snuggles was his name. I used to always take that bunny with me everywhere I go.
Mr. Hawkins told the story of his relationship with her mother and shared the events that lead to this despair in her life. Bad luck really hit hard in this case.
It was pretty good at first, and It just, after some years, it just went bad. When I was overseas when Akana was born, and that was, when I got back, she was like about maybe 2 or 3 months. And that was the only Christmas that I didn't go back to Mississippi to see my parents. I stayed in California because she was just born.
Mr. Hawkins shared a fact with Ms. Case that made her happy and addressed his death rumor. The mother confronted it and said this. So, how did it all happen, or was it just fate?
Mr. Edwards, you are not her father. Mr. Hawkins, you are not her father.
Akana, in my heart, you still my child.
A strong woman showed up at the court and wanted to prove that the defendant was the father of her son. And he denied paternity, saying mommy was a liar because he didn't want to pay child support. So, to get to the truth, DNA test is needed.
Ms. Brewington, you are here to prove your 3-year-old son Giovanni is Mr. Lee's biological child, and you claim Mr. Lee has been a father to your son since the day he was born and is denying paternity because he wants to avoid paying child support. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lee, you say you've known from day one Giovanni was not your son, and you are here to prove Ms. Brewington is a liar.
Ms. Brewing explained her firm claim and told the judge about her relationship with the defendant. To a complete surprise, Mr. Lee denied it in a very simple way, saying this.
Yes, Your Honor. I am without a doubt 100% certain that he is my son's father. Not only was I only sleeping with him, we were actually working on our relationship. We already have a child from a previous situation. We got back together. We're working on us. So when I found out I was pregnant, I didn't think it was going to be a shock or a surprise or anything like that.
The judge politely disliked the plaintiff's comment and asked the defendant about their relationship, and he said, Ms. Brewington stepped up and shared the moments they had before conceiving the baby to deny his lie. By far, this woman has every little detail with her.
Although she did not say it as eloquently as I would have liked, you can still be sexually active with one another and not be in a relationship. So I guess this does beg the question, were you still having sex?
At the time of conceivement, no.
So you're saying during the window of time when Giovanni was conceived, you are certain that even though Ms. Brewington lived in your house and shared your bed, you weren't intimate with her?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge asked the plaintiff how she found out about her pregnancy and claimed pretty much the same events as before. This man is a maniac, and he did this to her after the pregnancy news.
Okay, I found out that I was pregnant. I actually went to the doctor to just re-up on my birth control. They said, oh, you actually missed your last shot. I didn't even realize that they said that they had to do a pregnancy test before they could go ahead with the birth control. So I went ahead, they did a pregnancy test. It came up positive. I told him, he did not believe me at all. He went out and got 3 pregnancy tests, made me take all of them. They were all positive. And he was like, well, that's not my baby.
Then Mr. Lee got the chance to add up in the story, and he was telling the events, but here, things again went wrong for him. Ms. Brewington corrected him, and everyone laughed at their bedroom treatment.
Birthday's on the 2nd of February.
My birthday's on the 1st of February.
2nd.
My birthday is on the, how you gonna tell me what day I was born? I was born on the 1st of February.
He said it's the 2nd.
Yeah. Look, it's close. It's the same.
He around there just like he was around. Exactly. See, exactly.
So,
exactly. His sperm is like that too.
Because she came to my house complaining about how I didn't say happy birthday, that I didn't get nothing for her birthday, and I didn't.
Judge asked the plaintiff of the baby's birth, and she shared the scenario, and here is the ultimatum where everyone dies of laughter. She further disclosed how he treated the baby upon knowing the gender.
He was telling people I was just getting fat. He was like, she just eats a lot of fast food. Everybody was rubbing, my friends were rubbing my stomach. I'm showing ultrasounds to people. He's like, don't believe her, she's just fat. The entire time. I'm talking about, I'm going into labor. He's like, no, you're not.
What kind of denial is this? Mr. Lee, you taking denial too far.
Exactly.
Ms. Brewington explained his involvement in the baby's birth and how he accepted the child at the hospital, while she said he even had planned the names and the defendant agreed to his actions. Well, at least he owned something for the first time in this case.
He came after I had given birth because he had work, but he showed right up. He actually didn't even, they asked about the birth certificate and everything. He signed the birth certificate. He named my son. He was like, no, I'm not letting you give my son no dumb name. I'm naming him. I actually told him I was like, you don't want to wait until we do a DNA test. I offered the DNA test in the hospital.
After some baby duties, here comes more of this young man being the most stupid person ever. He took responsibility for being a father without knowing anything. The judge had to comment on this one.
You're making an execution of a birth certificate sound like a consolation prize or a consolation move. Well, since I'm gonna do this, I might as well. That's not why you sign a birth certificate.
I didn't know I couldn't take my name back off of it. I wasn't aware of that. Or else I wouldn't have signed it. If I wasn't
So you weren't aware of the law.
The defendant then shared his thoughts on signing the birth certificate. What a moron. He got fooled again by the law. Judge jokingly made him aware of the rule.
I figured when I signed it, I knew she was gonna put me on child support because I was already on child support. Now, with the previous child that we had, I had to do a DNA test at the child support services. I figured if I sign it, they're gonna take me right off after I do the DNA test. We came there, and then they said, no, we don't do a DNA test because you already signed the birth certificate.
Yes.
She kept saying.
Regarding his doubts, Mr. Lee said he got a clue of infidelity, and the plaintiff then brought another twist in the story, which is not funny this time and shocked the court. She told the evilness of her friend's mind and her little maybe baby thing.
So that's why you think this person was just telling him these lies.
Because it was shade the whole time, because he was sleeping with her, and she knew that if we stopped dealing with each other, because I told her we were working on us, and she knew that if we stopped dealing with each other, then she was free to go and be with their little maybe baby that they might have.
Upon this, Mr. Lee then explained the link of her friend's move with the birth certificate drama. Ms. Brewington then further blamed him for being a useless father. She shared one more crazy thing the defendant did after the baby birth.
That she actually is friends with the dude who is the father, and that he's trying to get in contact with Brittany, but she keeps ignoring him and wants me to be the dad since I'm there already.
Mr. Lee, you are not the father.
Told y'all.
Hold up.
I already knew it. I told you.
Don't look at me like that. I don't know God's plan.
Who else?
This case has a lot of denial in it, but keep yourself tuned in for the drama and lies. The plaintiff and his girlfriend claimed that he was not the father of Ms. Cole's daughter, and his evidence will shock the court, but the defendant said she was 100% sure of Mr. Webb's paternity. So, the only way to get closer for good is the DNA test.
Mr. Webb, you and your girlfriend say there's no chance whatsoever that you fathered the defendant's 6-month-old daughter, Majestic. You say your evidence will shock this courtroom. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Cole, you and your mother say you're 100% certain that Mr. Webb is your child's biological father and say the only reason he's denying your baby is to save his relationship with the woman he's been with for the past 3 years. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The plaintiff started the testimony in sheer denial and left everyone shocked with the claim. On this, Ms. Cole said he was lying. Well, it was a good start.
Well, that would rule you out. You've never had sex with her?
No.
Yeah, he did.
She's a liar. She's crazy.
Ms. Cole, we've heard a lot of defenses in this courtroom. Rarely have we ever heard that you've never had sex with her.
She's absolutely crazy.
So you think she's just making this up?
Yeah.
The plaintiff continued his answer and shared his relationship status with the defendant and explained the reason for his denial. He seems very confident.
You were never intimate with her in any way?
I never stayed in her bedroom. I stayed out on the couch.
That's a lie.
And on top of that, I was only there for a week and a week and a half.
That's not true.
Mr. Webb also shared a drama he encountered at one party with Ms. Cole to prove her crazy behavior. I mean, that's some weird thing to do.
He ain't like that.
Your Honor, the worst that we've ever done is take a picture, and she was already in the bathroom. She had called me in there. When I walked in the bathroom, she said cheese and took a picture before I could even say anything. I didn't even want to take that picture. That's how crazy she is. She posted it on Facebook.
After the defendant's picture drama was explained, the both parties yelled at each other in anger. This is becoming messy now.
And good and well that me and my husband took care of you the whole time you were there.
I didn't see you for one time the whole time I was there.
You were in her.
All right, let's get some order.
You're a psycho. You need help.
Judge asked the defendant's mother why they took care of Mr. Webb, and she said this and again spurted with anger at him. Things are heated here.
You said you and your husband were taking care of Mr. Webb?
Yes, and my grandkids and anybody else that needed.
You're a liar.
You are a liar.
You are a liar. Everything that you're saying. She was on the phone with me 5-6 times a day.
Why was Mr. Webb living with you?
He's a punk bum. We supplied everything for them.
Judge asked the plaintiff to explain his stay at Ms. Cole's house, and he made things clear in this case. His girlfriend stepped in and supported his claim by telling this.
And on top of that, April 18th, I had moved back to Detroit. How was I there for 3 months?
But why were you staying there with them for a week if you had a girlfriend?
She had knew about it. We were friends. She trusts me. She knows I'm not like that. I don't do that type of stuff.
I've known him for 7 years, and
His girlfriend continued the testimony and proved what happened during hangout with Ms. Cole, but the defendant denied it. This story has no loops to untie the truth which is hiding in the knot.
And you called me with his friend telling me that he was there for 3 weeks and you guys were having sex and blah, blah, blah. At first, I did believe that. But then I heard his story and shut up, I am talking.
Hold on. Let's be respectful.
So anyway, she was telling me that they were sleeping together and stuff. He wasn't even there for 3 weeks. He was there for a week, maybe a week and a half.
Just over there.
Yes, he was I knew they were hanging out.
I don't understand this, do you, Jerome?
The plaintiff then shared how he got to know about the pregnancy, and he explained another drama he had to endure again. The resemblance claim is very stupid.
I had said, okay, can we leave it at that, Tasha? It's not my baby. I'm trying to do right in my life and move on. And this is not doing either of us any good. So just do me a favor and stay out of my life in the inbox. At this point, I'm thinking, I feel like she's trying to say that I'm the baby daddy, but just hinting, not actually saying it.
Upon this, the defendant at last shared that Mr. Webb might not be the only possibility in this case. Ooh, now something is making some sense here.
To know for sure he's the dad, because I did have another partner. It was a month prior.
How we find out?
No, I told you there was another possibility, and I told the other possibility there was another.
That you were 100% sure that I was the father.
After this, the judge asked Ms. Cole the events with reference to the conception dates with both men. Man, we need to get to the closure fast.
And then my conception was...
The window of conception is in blue.
Yeah.
So that's the week prior to the 11th.
Yeah.
And then Majestic was born on the 28th of January, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Webb, you are not her father.
Oh, yeah, you're crazy. You need to go to a mental hospital.
Ms. Webb.
There, get her there, get her there.
Mr. Webb, Ms. Reams.
How could a house stay upheld when the people living there are betraying each other? A woman wanted to know the paternity of her 3-month-old son and believed one of the fathers could be her mother's boyfriend. Yes, don't get mistaken, you have heard my words right. Mama's lover, Mr. Shinauld, is the defendant here, and he claimed he wasn't the father. Stay uptight with this one. There is a lot to unpack in this case. So to get to the results, a DNA test is strongly needed here.
So you are here to prove paternity of your 3-month-old son, Zayden.
Yes, Your Honor.
Shockingly, you confess it's either a man you shared a sexual relationship with who wants nothing to do with your child, or the defendant who happens to be your mother's boyfriend. Now, Mr. Shinauld, you are Ms. Holthouse's mother's boyfriend.
Yes, Your Honor.
The defendant told how things went bad with his girlfriend's daughter, Ms. Holthouse, in the first place, and how they continued their dirtiness despite everything. Man, what they were thinking in their right minds.
Text message, Your Honor. I received wasn't supposed to come to me, and a word was misspelled. It was a word. A few days later, she had on tight clothing, little skirt, breast out, and next thing you know, one thing led to another. We started flirting with each other back and forth. Things just escalated from there.
Wait a minute. Did you ever think in your mind this is inappropriate?
Judge asked the plaintiff to tell the story of the text that sparked the damage. She shocked the whole court with their planning they did under Mommy Ms. Bougard's nose.
It's meant for him, but my mom was sitting right beside me when I texted him this. So I was asking him when he's gonna come over.
Did you have any thoughts, intentions about having a sexual relationship with your mother's boyfriend?
I had not really thought about it until I got a phone call from him. And he was talking about having sex and going somewhere.
Things were really twisted, so the judge asked the plaintiff how her mother found out about their cheating. She shared how Big Mama's manipulation worked and their real faces turned in. Damn, she made an awesome move there. After this, the defendant icked the whole court more by saying this.
Mr. Shinauld and her got locked up and he got out while he was in jail.
How did she find out?
She had kind of manipulated both of us, saying that I told her about what we did and I never said anything, and she said that he told her about what we did and he never said anything.
And who confessed?
Actually, I confessed.
You did?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you also still sleeping with her mother during that time?
The judge then addressed both parties to explain how they rolled out their romance. The defendant then told how his girlfriend confronted their cheating. Shame. They did everything under the same roof.
When she's not there, she left to go somewhere. Sometimes when she's sleeping.
In her house?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did she ever almost catch you?
Yes, and when she did,
what happened?
She caught me standing in front of her, my pants unzipped. She was really furious and upset, and we basically basically got into huge arguments and fights.
The story gets the worst turn now, and we listen to what Ms. Holthouse has to say about her and Mama's pregnancy. She gave a brink of hope to the judge about the other guy's possibility, but I don't think at this point anything could save them from shame.
I did not know, but as my mom was pregnant with my sister, my sister is Mr. Chenault's daughter, and she was...
Wait, how old is her daughter?
She's about to turn 11 months.
How old is your child?
He is 3 months.
3 months. When you find out you're pregnant, whose child do you think it is?
At the moment, it could have been 2 guys.
Judge asked Ms. Boogards about how she discovered them cheating, and she shared the fishy behavior of her daughter. Mama told how she met her boyfriend when the plaintiff was a kid.
If I was sitting on the couch next to Mr. Chenault and I would get up to go to the bathroom, she would get up out of the chair across the room to sit by him.
Oh, no, she didn't. Now, you have a 10-month-old child by Mr. Chenault.
Yes.
And you may have a 3-month-old grandchild who's also your child's half-sibling.
Judge asked the defendant about the resemblances of both babies, and he said this. He shared how his relationship had been affected by this mess. Man, this is even weirder than before.
Does he look like the daughter you have with Miss Bogardus?
Maybe a tad bit.
A tad bit.
Yes. She still brings it up. She still keeps fighting and arguing with me over what happened. I'm not allowed to actually have any, for real, physical contact with Zayden.
Mr. Chenault told the judge how things are working out after their scandal. It must be tough to live like this, but they deserved this. Judge questioned them about the last time they were intimate, and they both answered differently. Seems like honesty was never in their blood.
And you two are trying to work on and save your relationship.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, there are rules laid down for me and Miss Holthouse, her daughter. We're not allowed to be in the same room together. We're not allowed to talk or text each other. We're not supposed to really even be around each other. And if we are in the same room together, she turns down the TV so she can hear the conversations that we're having.
Hold on.
At the last hour, both the plaintiff and defendant shared their hopes about paternity. Let's see if the results really match with their hopes or not.
He wouldn't turn out as a good father. You don't want anything to do with him.
So if it's not Mr. Chenault, you don't think the other guy wants anything to do with him? You're not hoping either one? Mr. Chenault, it has been determined by this court. You are not.
A case was brought in the court where a woman wanted to prove the paternity of her daughter to the boyfriend, and he had denied the baby and wanted the results to change his mind. Otherwise, he would throw both of them out of his life. So, to get him the closure, a DNA test is required.
Ms. Damon, you claim you are certain that your boyfriend is the father of your 6-month-old daughter, Paisley. Recent allegations of cheating have caused a strain on your relationship. You're hoping that today's paternity results will help you save your family. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The plaintiff explained how things had affected her relationship with her boyfriend and shared the feelings they had discovering the haunting news. Things are bad here.
Like
the relationship that much?
Yes, Your Honor. We both have this doubt in the back of our mind. We don't speak of it, but it's there. We know it. I found out that I was pregnant. I told him, and we just both had like a look of fear in our eyes. Like, what did we do?
The defendant replied how he found out about the infidelity through this. The judge asked them about the meddling person, and Ms. Damon said this to add confusion in the discussion. Well, it was a surprise.
Jillian might be pregnant, and she said it's another guy's. Just thought I'd let you know. Also, she's been blank, guy 2, out in blank, and guy 3. But there are new people she's been blanking.
The plaintiff explained the move of her best friend to the judge and shocked the whole court. Tit for tat, and the bestie has stabbed her back.
So it's out of spite. It's all out of spite. A spiteful person does that.
Oh, so you did this to her once upon a time?
Once upon a time, something similar.
So the best friends are getting back at one another.
Mr. Osborne replied to the judge's question about the birth certificate. The question erupted a whole fight between them about their embarrassment issues. Don't know why the defendant did this still after the doubt.
Eventually, I did sign the birth certificate.
Even with doubt?
Even with doubt, I signed it because after she was born, I pulled the nurse to the side and I asked her for a DNA test. And they told me that the hospital don't offer free DNA tests anymore, that it would would cost me $600.
You embarrassed me in front of the
I
records lady when
embarrassed
she
you?
came in.
I embarrassed
My
you?
friends were in the room.
Judge had to bring the plaintiff's best friend in to clarify the doubts she created in the story. To everyone's surprise, the bestie had every proof with her.
My relationship and things in my personal life, so out of spite, I told her boyfriend at the time what she had been doing.
So do you have any proof that she was sleeping with other men?
Yes, she told me in Facebook messages and she told me in person.
Did you bring any of these messages?
The proof was discussed clearly by the judge in the court in detail. The judge made this comment about the evidence. Yeah, that was a classic cheating demeanor.
Hate this stupid blank. That's referring to Mr. Osborne. I'm about to wait till he falls asleep and go to another guy. You write back.
Really?
The next morning, did you go? She responds, yes, girl, I've been up all night. He's still sleeping. You also submitted another exchange between you and the plaintiff that says, if Elliot asks, I'm with you right now. That's what Ms. Damon said.
The best friend added another cheating scenario to put the plaintiff in trouble. Bestie's involvement being the witness was also questioned, and her response made everyone laugh. Well, at least someone was being faithful.
People and attempted to sleep with a fourth.
How do you know this, Ms. Taylor?
I was there with her with one man.
Oh.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
So you
What happened?
condoning her cheating on me?
Yes, I was.
Yeah. Probably because you was doing the same thing.
I was faithful to my man, but I supported her cheating on you, very much so.
I have no
You know?
recollection of this at all. Like nothing.
You cheated on him. You told me you cheated on him.
Now the bestie had to explain the cheating story in front of everyone to prove her point. The judge asked Mr. Osborne about his whereabouts during all this fuss, and he gave a funny response. Sure, your sleep will be gone after all this.
Every time she got a chance, she would go to one guy's house in particular, and if he didn't answer, there was another one, and then if he didn't answer, there was one that I helped her introduce her to, and then she would go to his house. And then there was another one that she attempted to sleep with, but he had a girlfriend already.
What in the world? What is going on here? You just ringing doorbells like Little Red Riding Hood or something, just ringing doorbells.
Now the judge discussed the conception dates to figure out the real truth. To this, Ms. Damon denied her actions, which led to an argument with her best friend, and she called herself this wow. She admitted herself to be a people pleaser.
The window of conception would be May 13th to May 19th. It was May 17th, 2017 when you sent the messages to Ms. Taylor about you going to another guy's house. Mr. Osborne, you are the father. I can see how much that meant to you, Mr. Osborne.